What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and we are stuck in the middle of this winter vortex. I'm a member of Critics Association of Central Florida, and it's 26. There's no escaping this cold. Even in Florida, we're below freezing. I know it's probably colder in other areas, but this is my review of Dracula. I've been wearing a lot of hoodies in my videos because it's just been a little cold. Um, I got an advance on this. Vertical is releasing this. It's directed by Luc Besson. Besson! And it stars Caleb Landry Jones and Christoph Waltz. And a bunch of people that I've never heard of before. I'm just gonna be real honest. This is not Caleb's first collaboration with them. Caleb was in Dogman, which was a very interesting performance. Actually, a really wonderful performance from Caleb in a very strange and bizarre movie. But there's no doubt that Caleb's performance in that is something special. Unfortunately, he doesn't do much for Caleb here. Caleb is trying to do a little bit of what Bill Skarsgård did in Nosferatu. Um, he's presented at the beginning as this prince, and he heads off to war, and it, it his one ask of the church is for them to protect his wife, and that doesn't happen. So when he gets back and she's dead, but of course, like, the priest is not, he's like, how dare you, and he um denounces God and kills the priest, and God curses him by making him Dracula. I don't know. Listen, man, I didn't write the movie. And the fun thing about Vertical is I always have to do these reviews kind of awkwardly because they don't give me audio description in my screeners, but their films usually release with audio description, usually. Um, and so I I want people to get an understanding of what this film is because blind people might go see it with audio description in theaters. It's just Vertical is one of those companies that does not understand what an accessible screener is. But to be fair, a lot of them don't. I'm working on that. We're working on that on accessibility in Hollywood. So, Dracula, and you're probably thinking to yourself, "Oh, could you understand the?" Yeah, it's from Dracula, man, and it's not as stylistic as you would think. There's actually quite a bit of dialogue. It relies heavily on it. I suppose I didn't get the gore, but I don't go to movies for gore. If that's your thing, cool. But you probably went to something that was made by Cineverse instead. You know what I'm saying? Like, Luc Besson gore is not the same as, you know, Toxic Avenger or Silent Night, Deadly Night. So, um, yeah, I'm sure it's just things we saw in previous films before. I didn't feel like there was anything weird here. This was, I don't know, it's Dracula, and it's like, uh, every time somebody does something like this where you're like, what are you gonna do? And with Dracula, I suppose I could say the same because we just had Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, right? And you're like, oh, what does he do? I felt like Del Toro poured a lot of love into Frankenstein, and you could feel that in every frame. This just kind of feels like it's a Dracula film. And much like I felt about Edgar Wright doing The Running Man, I feel like anything that makes this director interesting has been lost in the production of this movie. Anything I've come to like about the direction and the style of Luc Besson doesn't come through here. You could have taken his name off of the movie and put somebody else on here, and people wouldn't have been like, "Wait a minute, isn't this a Luc Besson movie?" It's feels like it. It really doesn't. It doesn't feel like anything he's done previously, and it just kind of feels like he came in and directed like a studio film or something for Shudder. You know, it's just like it's a like a whatever movie. Caleb's fine here, but it's hard not to compare him to Bill Skarsgård because what he ends up being is so close to what Bill Skarsgård was doing in Nosferatu. And while I thought Caleb Landry Jones was fantastic in Dogman, I don't think he's that great here. Bill Skarsgård just kind of did this thing and just did it better a year ago. So I don't know. It's not a particularly bad movie. Like I wouldn't chase people away from it. But it's also one of those movies that I'm not really sure if it's great or if it's good. It's really sort of a mid film, middle of the road. I think the thing, if I had to point to one thing, because I'm leaning rotten on this, I debated this. I went to sleep. I was going to go fresh, and then I went to sleep. See, the thing is, like, I like the music. I think it has a lovely score. There are things that I could compliment the movie about. Some of the minor characters, especially the women, seem to be having a lot of fun. Um, but normally, I'm here for Christoph Waltz. Even if I am not like a huge fan of the movie, I totally get his vibe. I think he's so weird in this and so oddly miscast. And I didn't mind him in Frankenstein as much. He just wasn't the standout performance in Frankenstein for me. Here he's very distracting, and he feels like he's in a very different movie. It feels like the performance that Christoph Waltz is doing here is kind of what Paul Giamatti just did in Star Trek Starfleet Academy, where he's like, I'm in a bad movie, right? I'm gonna come in here and ham it up. This is camp, right? We're doing camp here. Like, Paul Giamatti understood the assignment for Starfleet Academy before anybody else did, and he was camping it up all over the place. I mean, that dude read that script and he was like, yes, I know what this is. We're gonna have fun. And I feel like over here, Christoph read this script and was like, oh, I get it. It's not supposed to be good. So I'm going to do weird, sort of over the top, cartoonish acting, like I feel like a Rocky and Bullwinkle villain or something. And it just, I don't know. I really just disliked his performance. And it takes a lot to make me dislike Christoph Waltz. I think specifically his Inglorious Bastards is like one of the best performances I've seen on film. I think that's why we have him, is because he was gifted this role, and it's such a brilliant role, and he has one of the most iconic performances of all time. Um, and he's delivered several times after that, but this is just such a misfire for him. Like, if this was the first time we were watching Christoph Waltz, I don't think he'd act after this. I don't think this film fuels his career at all. I think he'd bounce around doing, supporting work in films that nobody was watching until he eventually, I don't know, ended up on some TV show that nobody was watching, and we would just never hear of Christoph Waltz again. He benefits a lot from the fact that this is deep into his career so he can survive it, because I think this doesn't really do anything for him. I know it's currently fresh on the tomato meter. It's got like a 73% or something like that as I'm reviewing this. But that's coming largely out of like festivals and the pre-screen and everything that it got for awards consideration. Is technically an Oscar qualifier for 2025, even though I didn't get it. And now I know why. I mean, I wouldn't have really considered it for anything. My favorite thing about it is the score, but it's not in my top 5 for last year. It's not even in my top 10. It's just, it's a lovely score. It's a film that I didn't mind watching the credits for, which says a lot because there was an audio description. So it's not like I was waiting for the end of it to find out who narrated the film. I just enjoyed listening to the film play out. I was like, yeah, I got a minute. So I just let the film play out and listened to the score as the credits continued to roll. So, yeah, I'm disappointed, but I'm disappointed because even though Luc Besson is a little bit of a controversial figure, Google it if you don't know what I'm talking about. I do like his style in some of the films that other people haven't liked, like Dogman, and particularly Valerian. I'm actually a really big fan of Valerian. I don't think I have a review. I don't have a review on my channel. I don't think I reviewed that since I had Sight. But I was like one of the few people who went to the theater with Valerian and was like, oh my God, I love this. And no one else did. And that's okay. You do you and I'll do me, and that's what makes us all different. The difference in opinions. if I was looking at Rotten Tomatoes and going, ooh, it's a 73%. I don't know. Should I go rotten on this? I don't know, man. Are people going to look at me like what's the point of that? I always put an honest review from a blind film critic, and part of the reason why I do unstructured reviews is so that it feels like this is a real conversation that I'm having. No bullshit. No bias. I tell you where my bias is. I admit that I know Luc Besson's past, and I still like some projects of his. So in case you're like, well, you're bashing on Luc Besson because of, it's like, no, I have a positive review on my channel for Dogman. So I'm still working through on getting everything loaded to the tomato meter. But yeah, this just didn't cross the boundary for me. And the Christoph Waltz thing is so distracting. Like, I spent the whole movie going like, what the man? And it takes a lot for me to, because I understand he's a quirky actor, and like in Poor Things and stuff, anything that he does, um, Only Murders. I don't know why I said Only Murders. I said Poor Things. Fucking Willem Dafoe. Uh, um, Even in Only Murders as Bash, which was I think the last thing I saw him in. That's what I was thinking of. I'm not editing my review if I had editing capabilities. Um, I thought he was great in that. I mean, he was so weird and quirky, and it's like if somebody knows how to write for him and knows what to do with that, great. But if you just hand him a script and you let him do this, and there's no direction given to him to kind of pull him back and make him match the rest of the movie, then he just ends up like sticking out like a sore thumb. So unfortunately, Christoph pulled the film into the rotten territory. I was slightly fresh on it, went to bed, woke up slightly negative on it. Um, it's one of those films too where uh, I can't say that giving the audio description wouldn't have changed my mind a little bit, but there will be audio description in the release. So I'm trying not to punish the film for that. Um, but it is so close that when I say 5.8 out of 10 rotten, it's like, I don't know, maybe there was something really cool that I missed that wasn't described, or who knows. But based on what I was given at the end of the day, I would not recommend it. And a lot of that has to do with one of my favorite actors who gave one of my favorite performances in my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. And I gotta say, I think that's Luc Besson's fault. I mean, the director's supposed to direct, and if he can't catch that Christoph is doing a little bit much and is a little bit extra, I don't know what to say. But I feel like I'd love to have a conversation with more people who went fresh on this about uh, Waltz's performances and in this, and what they think, because I think he's in a completely different movie. I think he is. I think he misread the room on this one, and Luke did nothing to stop it. So that's my thoughts. If you want to see Dracula in theaters, I don't think it's terribly bad. It's just like it's another Dracula movie. But yeah, it's such a. I just really couldn't take Christoph's performance. I'm so sorry. I mean, I don't know why I'm apologizing, but as a fan of his, it's really hard to say that. I think if anybody out there relates to that, if you're ever a fan of an actor and there's just something that's not working for you when you see the movie and you're like, oh God, oh no. Yeah, it sucks. And I don't know why I'm apologizing as a fan to Christoph, but yeah, man, this didn't do it for me. All right, anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.